wouldn't say I'm on top of the world right now. I'm kind of back to the old Felice. I'm a veteran in the sport. I've been fighting for almost 15 years now. So you get to that point to where it's like you're going up, 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 and you're doing everything right, and then you just kind of hit this plateau. Like you lose motivation. You don't. And I lost motivation for a little bit, and so yeah, I guess I'm on a high, but because I'm back to loving the sport again, and I'm back to the the Lil Bulldog, the old fight, the Felice that was hungry and got into the sport and just loved every moment of it. And right now I'm just soaking everything in. I'm just loving every moment of it again. I think the thing that made me lose motivation was the obsessiveness. I'm an obsessive person, and so when I do something, I'm always trying to top myself. So every camp I thought I had to train harder, I had to work harder, I had to diet harder, and to me dieting became starvation. I had a lot of eating disorders. I remember like there'd be times where I would like have a can of tuna and I would split it up and I would eat that, just one can of tuna a day for like weeks at a time, thinking that's how I was gonna cut weight. Thinking that if I wasn't depriving myself enough, I didn't want it enough, I wasn't motivated enough, I wasn't disciplined enough. And so I actually, then I started, seeing a doctor after I lost I had the Paige Van Zandt fight, but I think everybody knows it wasn't me. You can see clearly by my last two performances, it caught up to me. I just had a lot of medical issues from not taking care of my body and from overstressing, overtaxing, and I got back to loving the sport, but I also got back to being healthy and eating right and knowing that, hey, I don't have to deprive myself in order to feel like I'm giving it my all. And I take my rest days. Sundays and Wednesdays are my rest days. I do it, not, I have to do it. And I think that taking like 10 steps back has actually made me take like 30 steps forward. I'm not like, oh, paleo, I'm not this, I'm not that, but an advantage to being super obsessed and disciplined over the years is I've tried everything. At one time I was a raw foodist. Another time I would go through camps where I would juice fast, like for 4 weeks. Other times, then I switched up. I'm like, okay, well, maybe that's too extreme. Maybe I'll just do an all liquid diet for my camps. And I would do that for like 3 months. I would be on all smoothie diets. And so now I think that it's balance. I eat really clean and healthy, whole foods, like I don't eat anything processed, but I listen to what my body wants, what my body needs. Before workouts, I'll have my glucose, because that's important. I'll have it afterwards. So I eat fruits, I eat whatever's put here on earth, and if I'm gonna eat meat, it's gonna be healthy, it's gonna be grass-fed, it's not gonna have hormones, and just really a healthy lifestyle. Honestly, this matchup to me doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, and it's kind of frustrating because I was offered this matchup before I fought Grasso, and I turned it down. I didn't want to, but I'm a professional fighter, and I think that if you're a professional and you're at this level, you need to make weight. Justine Kish has only officially made weight one time in her professional career as a strawweight. She's only made weight one time, and I don't want to be put in that position to be fighting somebody who's drastically overweight, and now I'm here trying to be like, do I fight, do I not fight? Not only that, they gave me Grasso, which she was, had all this hype behind her, and I thought that beating Grasso was going to really put me into the rankings, shoot me into the rankings, because if she beat me, she would have been skyrocketed in the rankings. But honestly, I just realized the rankings are bullshit. So, a fight is a fight, and maybe it's not the ideal matchup, but you know what? We're all strawweights. We're gonna all fight each other at some point in time, so does it really matter who? I really don't care who I fight. I'm just, I give it my all, like every camp and every, I try to put it all out there in every performance, and, the UFC, I can only take what I'm given. I did think about turning it down again, but I didn't want to, I was like, well, there's a reason they're giving me this matchup again, and I don't want to, bite the hand that feeds me. I'm like, all right, this is the matchup they want, this is the matchup they're gonna get. Plus, I've never ducked a fight. I've never been a person who's like, no, I don't want that fight. It's not that I don't want the fight. I think I have a little integrity in this sport. I think that I'm a professional. I've been doing this for 15 years, and the one job you have is to make weight. That's a big, you know, to make weight and to show up in a fight. And I think if you can't do your one job of making weight, then you shouldn't even have the honor of fighting me. Yeah, I'm gonna be the one to set the ground rules that, you know, because it's not fair that if you don't make weight, you put your opponent at a disadvantage and you still get to collect, you still get paid. I kind of want to be that person, like, if you don't make weight, you're not getting paid, but I am, because I did my job. And it sucks too, because I don't want to be in that position. I showed up to fight. You know, I always show up to fight, and I'm not saying Justine is or isn't going to make weight, you know, but I think that if she doesn't, I will be that person to say, bye-bye, go home with no money. You know, Justine has a striking background. She's tenacious, and I think that makes her striking maybe look a little bit better. I don't think she's very clean or technical. I have a striking background as well, and you know, I don't fear her Muay Thai. I think that the thing that is scary about Justine is that she's big and she's strong and she's fearless. But I'm big and strong. Maybe not as big, but I'm strong and I'm fearless, and I'm very technical and I'm very well-rounded, and I think that this is gonna be a matchup of who can stay more composed. And I know I can be composed, and I think that might maybe sometimes is, you know, Justine's, it's worked for her well, you know, in the past, is that she just goes in there and she doesn't care, but she doesn't care about getting hit. And it's just gonna take one person to really hit her, to make her realize, oh shit, you know. You know, I believe if I get the win that I've earned something bigger. I've earned, you know, my spot in the top 10 rankings. But I don't really look at that anymore, because I know that I'm a veteran in the sport, and I know I've been around for a long time. So win or lose, or, you know, or ranked or not, like, I know, like, I've paid my dues in the sport. I was in the sport before there was big opportunities. I was in the sport before there was, you know, ranking systems. I fought, you know, girls 20 pounds out of my weight class, you know, and it doesn't matter, because I know that the fighter that I am, like, if the UFC wants to rank me and give me this, it's kind of like nowadays they're just giving everybody like a here's your participation ribbon. Like, I don't really hold too much weight on the UFC rankings, because I think that they're very lopsided. So if I happen to peek my way into the top 10, that would be great. You know, it would solidify me a little bit more. But if not, I'm just gonna keep being me and keep on keeping on.